All right, here we go. All right, so by now you should have completed your day 33 bell ringer, which asks you kind of on a scale, how often do you look at nutrition labels? And I think the range went from nutrition what? So that would mean never to sometimes to you always look at. To be completely honest, I don't look at them all the time because I buy basically the same food every time I go to the grocery store. So I know through prior experiences that I'm buying the same thing. When I buy a new product, I usually compare nutrition labels, but it's not something that I do every single time that I go to the grocery store, since I literally buy the same thing every single time. So today we're going to be working in our Nutrition Label Workbook. We're looking at slides 6 through 10-ish, I believe. So starting with our agenda here, your bell ringer, and then we're going to do some notes together and some practice together. So everything today we're going to do together so that we make sure we're on the same page. So I will give you a minute to get there. Again, go ahead and open your workbook, and we're working on the orange slides, which are day 33. All right, while you are opening your workbook, let's talk about the difference between a nutrition label and a food label. Oftentimes these are kind of used as synonyms, but there is kind of one major difference. So our nutrition label is what we are going to focus on today. It is usually located on the back of a wrapper, and it is in a standard format. Okay, so all nutrition labels look the same. The only thing that could be different about them is the formatting as far as whether it's portrait or landscape, and they can change the color of the font, okay? But other than that, the order has to be the same. The things that are included have to be the same, okay? Versus a food labels are usually found on the front of a wrapper, and they help advertise the product. So they're marketing strategies to try to get the consumer to be interested in their product. So if you look at some of these food labels, some of these probably look familiar. Made with real honey, made with real fruits. This is probably on a fruit snack wrapper. Fat-free, we see this, non-GMO, heart healthy, okay? These are things that the company that's trying to sell the product is going to put on their product to try to make it seem more enticing to you, okay? These things do not have to be 100% factual as they are not regulated. So a lot of times you'll see items that'll say cholesterol free, but they're plant-based products, and no plant-based products have cholesterol in them. So if you are an uneducated consumer, you'll be like, oh, sweet, like my doctor told me I need to limit my my cholesterol. I should definitely buy these cashews, which cashews are good for you, but they never have cholesterol in them. There's nothing different compared to the next brand of cashews. Our nutrition facts cannot be, they have to be factual. They can be manipulated, and I'm going to explain that here in a second. All right, so just a little bit of background, and you guys should have gone over a little bit of this yesterday. The FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, is responsible for assuring that foods sold in the United States are safe, wholesome, and properly labeled. So the Nutrition Labeling and Education Act requires most food to have nutrition values, and requires food labels that bear nutrient health claims and certain messages to comply with certain requirements. Basically, it's saying the majority of our food that is sold in the United States, in grocery stores especially, must have a nutrition label on it. Can you think of any foods that do not have a nutrition label on them in stores?
You know, like how they put a single bell pepper and by the like fruit areas and like vegetable areas.
Yeah. So you kind of sound like a robot at the beginning, but I heard fruit and vegetables, right? That they don't have nutrition labels on them, correct? That's what you said?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah.
All right.
Yes, so that is correct. Fruit and vegetables, so our produce, you don't ever see a nutrition like sticker on an apple. That's correct. You also never will see a nutrition label on alcohol. So that is not required. Um, like beer doesn't have to have it, which is really silly because there are a ton of calories and other crap in our alcoholic beverages. But things like juice, pop, milk, all have nutrition labels on it. So just kind of a weird thing. All right, so on slide 6, there are 2 different charts kind of things for you to fill in. We're going to fill in this one on the left where it says, why are nutrition labels important? And I asked you yesterday as a bell ringer, what is the purpose of a nutrition label? So let's see how your bell ringer aligns with today. So I have 4 things here, so you'll just type them right in next to it. All right, so nutrition labels provide key information by allowing you to know what you are consuming. It's as direct as it gets. Nutrition labels are important because they can help me maintain a healthy weight. If I'm trying to gain or lose weight, I would need to potentially track my calories. So I would need to know how many I'm consuming on a daily basis in order to gain weight by eating more calories, lose weight by being in a calorie deficit, or maybe I want to stay the same, so I would need to still maintain that health enhancing level of calorie intake. Nutrient consumption, so we talked about last week the main macro and micronutrients. I want to make sure that I'm getting enough healthy carbs, protein, and fat, and making sure that I'm supplementing my diet with vitamins and minerals. So all of those things can be found on our nutrition label. And then the 4th reason why nutrition labels are important is because if I have a health complication, such as, say, I'm diabetic, I would need to monitor my carbohydrate intake or my sugar intake. So I would want to look at nutrition labels to find out how many carbs I'm eating for a meal. Or if I'm allergic to peanuts, I'm going to look at the ingredients list to see if peanuts are used in the making of that product, or if that warehouse or wherever the product is made uses peanuts in other products. Okay, so depending on how severe my allergy is, I would need to read even farther than the nutrition or the ingredients list. Okay, so again, these 4 reasons are going to go on slide 6 in the white text box. You're going to just type them right in next to it. I'm going to leave this up for about another minute. And remember, these notes will be posted on Google Classroom if you missed something. Or you can always take a picture of my screen so that you can fill it in. All right. Like I said, these will be posted up by the end of the day. So if you missed anything, you can always go back and fill them in. All right, so now we're going to fill in the light orange text box. What are the 4 steps of reading a nutrition label? Your notes are going to be very general, and I'm going to go over the specific parts of each step. So the first step, number 1, is to check the serving size. Okay, so earlier I said that the companies cannot lie about the information that they put on the nutrition facts, but they can manipulate it. Okay, so if we're looking at this example nutrition facts label, it says there are 8 servings per container. Okay, so the serving size, 1 serving would be 2/3 of a cup. A lot of times what you'll see, and we'll see these in some of the examples, is they will make the serving size seem really small so that the calories and the total fat will all seem lower, and therefore if you just glance at that information, you're like, oh, these Oreo cookies aren't that bad for me. But then if you look a little farther, that's for 2 cookies. And how many of you eat two Oreos at one time? Not me. Like, that's that's some serious self-control if you can only eat 2 Oreos. So you have to be very mindful of the serving size. It's not the recommended portion size, but it's whatever amount they're going to say is for this information. Okay, so if I ate 2 servings, that would be eating 1 1/3 cup. Okay, so again, the first thing I want to do when reading a nutrition label is to check the serving size. That's number 1. So again, that can always be found at the top underneath nutrition facts. The second thing I always want to do is check the calories. So this is number 2. So remember, the calories listed are for how many calories are in 1 serving of that food. So I have 230 calories in 2/3 of, I think this is, we'll say it's mac and cheese. I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, so if I ate 2/3 of a cup of mac and cheese, which isn't very much, most of you would definitely eat more than that. I know I would. So if I ate more than just that 2/3 of a cup, I would have to multiply my number of calories to figure out how many are in there. Okay, so calories again are in a bigger font. They're below that initial bold line. So again, if I ate 2 servings of this mac and cheese, for example, how many calories would I consume? So I would multiply calories in 1 serving, 230, times 2, and that'd be 460 calories. Okay, we're going to do a lot of practice here at the end. Just as a reminder from yesterday, calories are the energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water through 1 degree Celsius. So basically this is how calories are measurement found in food. You hear a lot about calories, especially when we're talking about diet, when we're talking about losing or gaining weight. You hear about calorie-dense foods and calorie, like empty calorie foods. So you typically, and nutrition labels will say the average American adult needs 2,000 calories a day. Okay, so that is just our general guideline. However, for most of us, that's not the case. So the number of calories you need is based on your age, gender, activity level, and what's called your basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories you do or how many calories you burn doing your necessities. So how many calories you burn while sleeping, breathing, and your normal bodily functions, okay? So the younger you are, usually you're burning more calories because you're growing. The more active you are, the more calories you need. And then generally males need more calories than females, okay? If I'm an elite professional athlete, say I'm an offensive lineman in the NFL, they're probably going to eat almost 5,000 calories a day. If you or I were to eat 5,000 calories a day, we would probably be severely overweight. Okay, for teenagers, most likely you're going to need closer to that 2,500 calorie range. My toddler, who is super active and doesn't stop moving, but her body is very small, only needs about 1,200 calories a day. Okay, pregnant women don't need any more calories the first 2 trimesters, and then they can slowly start adding in some calories to support their baby. So, you know, I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, oh, you're eating for 2. No, not really. Unfortunately, you don't get to eat that much extra, okay? So just keep in mind that on nutrition labels, they're using the standard 2,000 calories a day, but for most of you, you will need more calories than that. All right. Step number 3, you want to limit these nutrients, okay? These are some of the nutrients that can cause chronic disease and other complications. These are things such as saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. So take a look at this artery here. It is built up with this yellow plaque, and this is what, this is from eating a diet high in saturated fat, and cholesterol. And it clogs those arteries, making it harder for blood to flow through to the rest of your body. Okay, this is reversible through eating a healthy diet low in saturated fat and cholesterol, so eating more plant-based items rather than straight up animals. But this is what causes a lot of problems in Americans. Okay, trans fat is a little tricky because saturated fat we know comes from animal products. Unsaturated comes from plant products. Trans fat is a man-made fat that is used to make products last longer on the shelf without expiring. So trans fat, for every gram you consume, it takes your body 1 year for it to break down. And what's even trickier about it is on nutrition labels, nutrition companies have agreed, and the FDA has agreed, that says if there is less than 0.5 grams per serving, so whatever they determine a serving is, you can put 0, okay? So for example, on a Snickers bar, most of the time it's gonna say 0 grams trans fat. However, there is a gram of trans fat if you combine the servings. So every time you eat a Snickers bar, it's taking your body 1 entire year to break that Snickers bar down because of the trans fat that makes it last longer on the shelf. Fun fact, yay, or not yay, okay? So number 3, again, you wanna make sure that you're limiting the nutrients that are causing chronic disease and other health conditions. And last but not least, you wanna make sure you're getting enough of these good nutrients that help support and enhance your health. Okay, so these are things like fiber, fiber is found in vegetables, that helps keep you regular, going to the bathroom and cleaning you out. Protein, calcium, iron, and vitamins. Okay, so it's super important to make sure that you're eating a balanced diet and fueling your body properly. So again, step 4, get enough of these nutrients. These are good nutrients to help support your body's growth. All right. So we're going to practice this one together with the nutrition label that we already have, and then I have some practice problems for you in your Google Slides that we'll do together as well. All right, so how many calories would I consume if I ate 2 servings? We already did this one together. So there are 230 calories in 1 serving. I'm going to multiply that times 2, and that's 460. Okay? The next one's a little bit more challenging. If I wanted to consume 20 grams of fiber, how many servings would I need to eat? Okay, so I'm going to find fiber. Dietary fiber, there are 4 grams in 1 serving, right? So all this information is for 1 serving. So if I wanted to eat 20 grams of fiber, I'm going to divide 20 divided by the number of fiber or grams of fiber in 1 serving. So 20 divided by 4, I would need to eat 5 servings. Good, thanks. All right. Okay, so here's just a quick reminder of the different steps. Check the serving size, check the calories, limit these nutrients, and make sure you get enough. Just another quick reminder, so on nutrition labels, you'll see the daily value or percentage daily value. So that's saying in a person who eats 2,000 calories, you should, by eating 1 serving of this product, you're eating 18% of how much total fat you need. Again, this is going to be a little bit different for each of us because the number of calories we need, and therefore the number of macro and micronutrients, is going to be different. There's nothing you need on the last slide, but I can come back to it at the very end if you need. All right, so we're going to do some practice problems together. You should see this on your, below your notes, and it may be a little hard to read on yours, the nutrient information, so I tried to make it bigger on my screen. Excuse me. So let's practice these together, and if you want to say the answers or what you think out loud, that would be very helpful. All right, so we're looking at Cheeto Puffs, okay? Let's look at the serving size. One serving is 1 ounce, so this is like that snack size bag, okay? How many calories would you consume if I ate 2 items of the, or 2 servings of the items? So what do I need to multiply? This is on slide 7. All right, so in order to find out how many calories I would consume if I ate 2 servings, I'm going to multiply the calories in 1 serving times 2. So 160 times 2. The answer for A is 320 calories. So if I ate 2 of these bags, I would be eating 320 calories. For B, how many servings would I need to consume to eat 10 grams of protein? So in 1 serving, if I look down, there are 2 grams of protein. Okay, so I'm going to divide 10 grams divided by 2 grams to find the number of servings, which is 5. Okay, on your slide on slide 7, you don't have to put the equation. If the equation will help you remember on how to do this tomorrow when you do it on your own, then that's fine, but you just need the answer. Our final question for C, I consume 30 grams of total carbohydrates. How many servings did I consume? All right, so I'm looking here, and total carbohydrates in 1 serving, I have 15. It says that I ate 30 grams. So in order to find out how many servings I consumed, I'm going to divide 30 divided by 15 to find the total number of servings, which would be 2. So 30 divided by 15 is 2. If any of this is super confusing or doesn't make sense, please feel free to stop me, as I know this is probably not something that we're used to doing all the time. But this is how manufacturers and nutrition companies trick us. But we are becoming educated consumers. All right, we're going to move on to our Oreos, so my favorite sweet treat. How many calories would 1 cookie contain? So we're going to check the serving size. The serving size is 2 cookies, okay? So if I want to know the nutrition information for 1 cookie, I have the information for 2, I'm going to divide it in half. All right, so if 2 cookies have 140 calories, I'm going to divide that by 2, 140 divided by 2 to find out how many are in 1. So in 1 cookie alone, I'm eating 70 calories. Oh, man. 2B asks us how much fat would be in 1 cookie. So again, I'm going to use the same equation. 7 grams are in 2 cookies. So if I divide that by 2, 7 divided by 2 is 3.5 grams of fat in 1 cookie. How much total fat would you consume if you ate the entire container? So in 1 serving, there are 7 grams of total fat. There are 15 servings per container, okay? So I'm going to multiply 7 times 15 in order to find out the total fat. So 7 times 15 is 105 grams of total fat. That would be for 30 cookies, because I know that, and this isn't a question, but there are 2 cookies in 1 serving and 15 servings in the container. So 2 times 15 is 30 cookies. Question D asks us, what % of your daily intake of sodium would you eat if you had 8 cookies? And the hint is to find the number of servings consumed first. So if I had 8 cookies, I need to find out how many servings I consumed. So 8 divided by 2 cookies would be 4 servings. And then I'm going to multiply 4 servings times the daily intake of sodium, which is 4%. Okay, so 90 milligrams is how much sodium is in 2 cookies, which is 4%. So my answer would be 16%. Okay, so again, I did that by 8 cookies divided by 2 cookies per serving is 4 servings. Then I wanted to know how much sodium is in 4 servings worth of, 4 servings worth of sodium, daily value, and my answer is 16%. All right, this one is really small, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because it's like basically impossible to read. On slide 9, I'm comparing the difference between a bag of regular Doritos and baked Doritos. Okay, so you're going to fill in your chart. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because, like I said, it's super challenging to read. So our top row asks, how many calories would you consume if you ate the entire 16-ounce bag? And this red thing at the top says the serving size for both items are 1 ounce. The total bag, or the bag, has a total of 16 ounces. So again, this is really small. For regular Doritos, I'm eating 140 calories for 1 serving times 16. So if I ate this entire bag, I would eat 2,240 calories, which is way more than the recommended amount for our Americans. Compared to baked Doritos, and I believe this says 130, so we're going to go with that. 130 times 16 is 2,080 calories. Next, how many grams of total carbohydrates would you consume if you ate half the bag? So instead of multiplying by 16, we're going to multiply it by 8 because 8 is half of 16. So our regular bag of Doritos has, I believe, 17 grams of carbohydrates. It may be wrong based on my poor eyesight. So 17 times 8 is 136 grams, compared to our baked Doritos, which have 27 grams of carbohydrates. So again, I'm multiplying that by 8 for half the bag. So 27 times 8 is 216 grams of carbohydrates. So technically, I'm getting more carbohydrates in my baked Doritos compared to the regular nacho cheese Doritos. All right, and finally, the last row, how many grams of total fat would you consume if you ate the whole bag? So now we're going to multiply again by 16 because we're eating the entire bag. So of regular Doritos, there are 8 grams of total fat in 1 serving. So 8 times 16 is 128 grams, compared to 3.5 grams of total fat in my baked Doritos. So 3.5 times 16 is 56. So again, make sure you have this chart filled out. You don't have to put the equation, so you should just have the answers. It's a good idea to either screenshot or take a picture of this to make sure that you put in the right answers. All right, I'm going to show you what to do on the last one, and then we are done for today. You will be doing practice on your own tomorrow. So on slide 10, you see these Doritos follow-up questions, and I'm going to have you do these on your own as a practice for tomorrow. So you're going to use the chart on the previous slide. How many more calories are you consuming by eating the bag of regular Doritos compared to baked? So you're going to subtract how many calories there are in the regular Doritos minus the calories in baked for your answer for A. How many more grams of total fat are you consuming by eating the bag of regular Doritos compared to baked? Again, you're going to subtract the number of total grams of fat in regular minus the total grams of total fat in baked for your answer. See it as an opinion question. What is the healthier choice? Justify your answer. Okay? Once you are done with slide 10, you are done for today. Tomorrow we will be working on the purple slides, which will be practice finding nutrition labels around your house.